What if I told you there's a bet right now for nearly $30 million on an election that is still 4 years away? Yep, you heard that right. This isn't just a casual prediction, it's a massive financial signal.
Look at that number, over $29 million. And just to be clear, this is not the typical noise of day trading. No, this is the calculated, strategic move of some very serious capital, all piling into a single, long-term bet on the future of American politics.
And here's where all that money's going. A single contract predicting the Democratic nominee for 2028. You know, when you see this much money moving this early, it's not just speculation. The market is screaming a message of long-term conviction.
But this is where the story takes a really weird turn. While all that cash is pointing towards stability, there's another bet, a deeply counterintuitive one that's quietly racking up millions. And this one, well, it doesn't point to stability, it points to chaos. And that brings us to the central mystery we're going to unravel today. Why on earth is smart money pouring over $8.6 million into an event that has only a 2% chance of happening this year? Stick with me because we are going to get to the bottom of this seemingly crazy bet. So first, let's break down that massive bet on stability, the nearly $30 million being wagered on the 2028 election. Just look at the acceleration here. I mean, only last month, this contract was sitting at around $21 million. Now, it's knocking on the door of $30 million. That's an $8 million surge in just a few weeks. Capital isn't just trickling in, my friends. It's flooding in. And here is the key piece of evidence that this is about conviction. Even with millions of new dollars pouring in, the odds for the frontrunner, Gavin Newsom, barely moved, from 36 to 37%. What does that tell you? It tells you the new money isn't trying to change the price, it's agreeing with it. This is a sign of a belief that's hardening into a consensus. So the big takeaway here is pretty clear. The market is solidifying its position, not just taking a random flyer. This is big money building a foundation on a belief in long-term stability. You know, if you find this kind of real-time analysis valuable, make sure you're following us on Twitter for more updates.
Okay, but this bet on political stability, it doesn't exist in a vacuum, right? To really get it, we have to look at the other side of the market's brain, the world of economics, where this whole theme of certainty gets even more intense.
In the economic markets, traders are pricing in an 87% probability of a Fed rate cut this December. And if you look out a bit further, they're giving an 86% chance of exactly 3 rate cuts in 2025. I mean, these are incredibly high probabilities. It signals a huge expectation of a controlled, kind of dovish economic environment. It's a massive bet on certainty.
Now let's totally shift gears and look at crypto. And what do you see? The polar opposite. Over $28 million is betting on Bitcoin smashing through $130,000 this year, an event the market gives only an 8% chance. This is not a bet on certainty. This is a pure high-risk wager on massive volatility and, let's be honest, a bit of chaos.
So there you have it. The market's dual mind laid right out in the open. On one side, you have near total certainty in economics. On the other, total speculation in crypto. It's a tale of two completely different mindsets trading at the exact same time. We break down these kinds of contradictions every week, so if you haven't already, do yourself a favor and subscribe to the YouTube channel.
And all of this, it brings us right back to our initial mystery. It's time to connect these dots and finally reveal that outlier bet, the one that sits right at the intersection of certainty and chaos. So what could possibly motivate traders to stake over $8.6 million on something that has such a tiny chance of actually happening this year?
And here it is. The contract is titled, Trump Out as President This Year. The numbers are just stark. 8.6 million in volume on an event with just a 2% probability. This is a textbook black swan hedge. So what in the world is a black swan hedge? Honestly, the easiest way to think about it is like a multi-million-dollar insurance policy. You don't expect your house to burn down, but you buy insurance just in case, right? It's the same thing here. Traders don't expect this 2% event to happen, but if it does, the payoff would be absolutely massive. It's a strategic bet against a system-level shock. If this idea is clicking for you, let me know by dropping a like below. Okay, so let's put all of these pieces together now. Let's form a single, clear picture of what the market's dual mind is really telling us.
This table really lays it all out. In economics, the bet is on a controlled, predictable environment. In crypto, it's a bet on pure, unadulterated volatility. And then you have politics, where we see the dual mind in perfect action. The main bet is on long-term stability with that 2028 contract, but it's paired with a multi-million-dollar insurance policy against short-term chaos.
So what is the single macro signal from all of this data? It's this. The market is positioning itself for a stable, predictable future. But it is simultaneously paying millions to insure itself against the small but very real chance of total pandemonium. We track these macro signals every single week, so drop a like and share if you find this valuable.
You know, you could sum up this entire strategy in one sentence. Expect the expected, but hedge against the impossible. So the question is, what does this split sentiment really tell you about the market's true confidence in the year ahead?
That's the signal we're watching this week. If you found this breakdown valuable, subscribe and drop a like below. For the more frequent, day-to-day updates, you can find us on Twitter. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.